Hey, welcome in Huntsville. Another wonderful good morning to you. Thanks for waking up with us. What do you love about Huntsville? What makes this a great place to be?
Everyone here is very genuine and very kind and friendly. You never hesitate to speak up and say hello or good morning or just acknowledge the person walking by.
The thing that I love most about Huntsville, I love the peace that Huntsville brings. I love the peace that it gives me.
I feel accepted and part of the town and like I belong here.
Huntsville is where my lovely wife lived when I met her, so I moved here. So I'm pretty thankful for her.
All right.
we're bucking for you in Huntsville, Texas.
Hello, I'm Billy Cobbin, with Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home.
Hey, it's Kay Boning with Tomorrow's Provost Montessori Schools.
Good morning, Huntsville.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm Karen.
I'm Toy. And I'm Denise.
And from all of us at Walker County Federal Credit Union, good morning, Huntsville.
Coming at you live from Studio 1229J.
Yeah, that's right.
What do they say that? I've never watched one in my entire life. I've never watched one full episode of Saturday Night Live.
Oh, yeah?
You
don't have to nowadays because everybody, like my kids, when you talk to them about watching, even like basketball games or sporting events or whatever, so many of the kids, their attention span is so short, they just watch the replays, because they chop it up into segments and they repost it. And Saturday Night Live is the same way. It's all over Instagram and Facebook or whatever. They chop these segments up and they just reproduce them all throughout the week. So I think more people probably watch the show, but less probably at that given time.
I was thinking about a lot of these things of today that are no longer of yesterday. And maybe that was one of them. My mom used to tell me stories of like the Mad magazine or whatever.
Yeah,
you don't hear of that.
Yep.
Or the stories of MTV when they actually used to have music.
Yeah, really.
That's how it started.
Right.
And I went down this whole VH1. That's another one. Is that thing still going?
I think so.
Yeah, I never watched any of those, but never did know if they were going or not.
I don't think they show music either.
Yeah, it's
anymore.
Like it's it's music television, but it's turning like ETV.
Yeah, really.
Well, for me, NETV, non-entertainment TV.
Right.
Because there's nothing entertaining about a lot of that stuff for me.
You.
But I was thinking the other day, and going back and thinking about all these things, and it's kind of crazy to see how things shift and things change and trends change. And, even in our lives, Jason, you and I are pretty much the same age. And I think a lot about the trends that we've seen that have came and gone, and then the trends that are now coming back. And hairstyles is one of them.
Yep.
It's the things that I would wear in high school would get made fun of now, and the things that are worn now would get made fun of back then. And, but I don't know, it's kind of neat to think about that, just the shifts and how things work.
Yeah, not too long ago, talking about making fun of things. Of course, I have kids of all different ages, but the mom jeans were in style. They're high-rise pants.
I remember that.
So, and if you would have wore that back in the day, the people would have been laughing at you. But now kids, they pants come all the way up to their belly button,
It's like you can rest your thumbs on your ribs,
Kim's like, with our daughters, those pants look like something my mom would wear. I guess that's why they call them mom jeans.
My voice, this is really neat. It's kind of going back down nostalgia lane because I remember my grandmother sewing my clothes for me. She would. I think you and I even mentioned something about this one time. We had this Wynn's department store that was based out of San Antonio, and that would back in the day was like the Family Dollar or whatever, and I remember going there, and they had these metal racks that were how would you say cylinder racks? How could you make that plural? Cylindrical, you know what I'm trying?
Yeah, circular.
Circular. There you go. That's even better. I'm only 4 terms into ORU. I'm not learning much right now. So these circular racks of patterns you would go in and buy, and the whole back corner was drawers that had thread, and then there was tons of material. And for whatever reason, that was one of my favorite. I didn't like the toy aisle. I like going back to that aisle.
Yeah.
And so I'd always pick out, hey, they had like one year they had Flintstones print. And I was like, Nanny, can you get the Flintstones? So she'd make me little shirts and shorts. And she would buy the elastic, for the waist, and it was just cool. You don't hear that anymore.
No, you don't.
So maybe this morning, take us back on a trip and let us know some things of yesteryear that you used to enjoy that you don't really see anymore. Comment below and let us know as we get started here this morning. We do want to welcome you in. Thanks for being a part of this show as we hope to uplift and encourage you a little bit this morning. Episode number 464. Big thank you to Elliot Herzig of Elliot's Jewelers. We are continuing and wrapping up this week the Heart for Casa campaign, and it looks like I've only got maybe 2 or 3 bags left. I see one on the shelf here, and there were only 2 left in my office. And so if you would like to donate to Casa, this is the last week to do that. You will get in return some jewelry cleaner, a rosebud vase to Heartfield Florist, a candle, bunch of stuff that's in there, and it's only a suggested donation of $40. You could do like Carolyn Gibson. She came right here to the church and donated in cash. So if you're not keen on giving online through our website at hellohuntsvilletx.com, you can most certainly come up here to First Baptist. And today will be the last day, actually, that you can come here to the church because we're not here on Fridays. And so if you would like to participate, come by today. We'll be here until 3 o'clock, and we'd love to have you be a part of that. Also, of course, couldn't be here without our good friend, Jay Bay, and First Baptist Church. So
good to be here.
Good to see you, man. We had a great time last night. I wanted to kind of dig into Wednesday Night Live. The on-ramp is back for this semester.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. We've been really praying a lot about starting back our Wednesday Night Live, getting ready. We knew during the winter months we have Upwards basketball here just about every night of the week and on weekends. And so the 1st of March, we always start our Wednesday Night Lives back. So this semester we're really pushing it, and it's been really, really great. The first night last night was great. We had a lot of adults, children, people of all ages here, and Rob and I got to teach together, so that was fun.
I was more of like a listening, but I enjoyed it.
You got to see the madhouse that is. It's wild. No, we have a great children's minister here, and over the years, we've molded things and changed things, and I really think we have. You saw, I mean, this is the first time you normally go to the adult classes, and we roped you into being a part of the children's ministry, and eventually you and I switching on and off. I thought, you could teach it for a semester, then I could teach it for a semester. That way, we both have a chance to teach, but we also have a chance to listen and be involved in the adult classes. So I think that's going to be a great thing. But you got to see it from that perspective. And one of the things that Deborah has designed is a rotation system, very similar to the way that we do Vacation Bible School. And so I teach the lesson, and I work really hard to work on the lesson, and then we have the crafts. They do a little craft each time, and then each time they play games. And so it's a rotation in 3 different places they go to, and it keeps the kids very engaged. And we don't have any discipline problems because they're just moving from one space to the next, and they're here. It's from 6 to 7:30. We have a meal at 5 and serve the kids a meal at 5, and then it starts at 6. But the kids are so busy during that time that they leave, that hour and a half just goes by in a snap, and they're always leaving wanting more, and that's what we want to do, is leave them wanting more, and that's been a great thing. So that's kicked off, running strong for all ages, and I think we had a great turnout last night. But next week is spring break, so we'll take a break for spring break and allow our staff to get away with their families, and then we'll be hitting it hard all the way to May. So we're ready to go.
Yeah, it was neat experiencing that, and before we went live this morning, you and I were talking a little bit about just different things that churches do. And one thing that I love about our church, and I wanted to highlight this a little bit, was just what is the role of the church.
Yeah.
We know that the role of the church obviously is to proclaim the name of Jesus, to grow, and to help others grow in their beliefs and the Lord, and just really an opportunity for community to come together. And I was thinking about this, and this isn't any knock on any church anywhere or anything like that. It's just in general. But, we see the church as, and you and I have talked about this, as a spiritual hospital, a diverse group of people that are coming. They have needs, and we believe the only way that those needs are truly met is in a relationship through Jesus Christ. And I feel like we're in a culture, and again, this isn't on anybody or any other group anywhere across the globe, but I think it's in general. There's this urge to be trendy. You know, we that's why I kind of talked a little bit about trends when we came on. And of course, people, there's nothing wrong if you want to wear the clothes of the time. You know, I know Jason wants to go back to the bell bottoms.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, but I think about, there's this push, though. It almost seems like you have to do things to attract people. That may be true in certain realms, and I think there's nothing wrong with having programs like what we have on Wednesday Night Live. But I've always challenged the approach of trying to attract people. And I think more it's about, instead of focusing on how can you attract people, the overview should be, how can you transform people? And I kind of wanted you to expand on that a little bit, because I think it really is about the transformation.
Oh, definitely. And you look at the way Jesus did ministry, and Jesus never had to drum up a crowd. Oh, come on, y'all gather around here. I'm fixing to do something really cool. You know, that was never his approach. People were drawn to him because he was the instrument of transformation. We looked at it last week in Sunday service. Whenever there's a time in Jesus, at the very beginning of Jesus' ministry, where they're bringing all these people that are sick, all these people that are demon-possessed, afflicted with all these different types of illnesses to his door. The whole crowd, the Bible says, the whole crowd were gathering at his door. And he decided that morning, it says he woke up before anybody else, and he went off to a solitary place to pray. His disciples were worried, where did he go? And they went out and they found him. And they said, where have you been? Everybody's looking for you. Everybody needs you down into the house. And the Bible says that he was alone praying. And he said to them, let us go into the other kingdoms. Let's go from here into the other towns to preach the kingdom, because that's the reason I've come. And the kingdom is about transformation, just what you said. It's about transform lives. And that's what this whole series is about. The whole series is about kingdom culture. We use the word culture a lot, and I mentioned this last night in sporting events. You know, people say, if you can change the culture, you can change the team, right? You have to change the culture. Well, the same is true when it comes to our lives. The Lord is the one that does the changing, and he changes our culture. We become part of the kingdom, and he makes us different. That's why he says you must be born again. So you're exactly right. When you emphasize the transformation that Jesus is making, you don't have to drum up a crowd. The Holy Spirit does all that work for you. You just come and gather and see what God is going to do and what he does. It's amazing. There's no other thing like it. I mean, we can try to be like a movie theater and draw people in to see the show, but as someone once told me, you know, what you win them through is what you win them to.
Wow, yeah.
And if you're winning them through entertainment, then that's what you're bringing them there for. And when the show gets not entertaining, then they're going to leave. But if you're bringing them to Jesus, there's nothing that can take that place. You know, nothing that can bring transformation like he does.
You know, we're seeing a transformation not only here at our church, but I truthfully believe within this community, and it's all, you know, just all focused on the Lord. And I'm so thankful, Jason, to. Yeah, I feel, here I am 40, I'll be 41 next month, and I feel like it finally took 39 and a half years to finally start to get it. And that's my encouragement, and I'm still understanding it. There's a lot that I've got to get. I'm only 0.1% of where I'll ever want to be, but my encouragement to anybody is, in your spiritual journey, if you feel like there's something that you're just not understanding, that you're not getting a hold of, I encourage you, just get a hold of your faith, get a hold of that relationship with the Lord, and the rest of it will work itself out. For so long, I kept feeling, Jason, like maybe I was doing something wrong. And I've realized that it's just praying. It's just saying, Lord, I need you now more than I've ever needed you every day, and asking him to be that person, that person in your life, that friend, that person that you wake up with every day, every morning in prayer. And it's not easy, but I always felt like, man, my prayers are going unheard. Things aren't working out. And I've understood now that it's through faith and faith alone that those things will come to pass. And that's my encouragement to anybody this morning that may be feeling like there's not any movement in their life, that things aren't happening. Just trust in the Lord and have faith.
You know, you mentioned something just now that we were talking about transformation, not only in the church, but in the culture at hand. And I believe, you know, culture kind of moves like a pendulum. You know, it swings from one side drastically, it swings to the other. But I really do feel like that we're seeing more and more people understanding now the value of the church and the value of Christianity. Do you notice that? Just seeing it in the culture, as there's a drawback now from this political push against Christianity. It was obvious in the past 10 years or more. There's been this subtle push towards Christianity to the margins. And I believe we're seeing a little bit of reversal of that. We're beginning to see a little bit of people understanding, hey, there's value in faith and people of faith. One of the articles I was going to share during our News You Can Use segment is a magazine article from the magazine Vox, which is a pretty progressive publication. But in the title of the article is there's the controversy over Disney's new Christian character, briefly explained. There's a Pixar show that's called Win or Lose, which is owned by Disney. You know, Disney has been pretty known for its shift away from Christianity. But in this new series that they have an explicitly Christian character, and they're taking a lot of heat for it. You know, It's pretty sad that they're taking heat for it. But I do believe that you're seeing that kind of pushback from a lot of these companies and a lot of these big businesses to see, hey, maybe we have misjudged the character. Maybe we've overlooked a whole segment of our population, and that population is people that still hold to the principles of faith. And maybe they're beginning to see the importance of speaking not just to certain political segments of our society, but speaking to society as a whole. Maybe there's room for that, and I believe there is.
Yeah, amen. Well, you know, one thing that I saw this morning, it says, you know, people are so concerned about taking when Christ is taken out of Christmas. And here's the second part of this, though. How about putting Christ back in Christianity?
Yeah, no joke.
And that thing hit me like I was like, whoa.
Yeah, and you know. The old saying is, well, we need to get prayer back in schools, and we do need prayer back in schools. But if you want prayer back in schools, start by putting prayer back in the home. You know, start there. And you start putting prayer back in the home, you'll see these kids praying at school over their lunches, praying with one another, and it won't be teacher-driven, it'll be student-driven. So you want prayer back in school, start by putting it back in the home.
Yeah, that's good stuff this morning, Jason. Well, I just kind of wanted to briefly touch base on that because the whole series that we've been doing here that you're doing is Kingdom Culture, and it really is a great series. I want to encourage you, come out. Last week was just a great message, Jason, and so thankful to hear that message. And you talked about a lot of the different churches looking, here's the church that tries to do this, the church that tries to do this, the church that tries to do this. How about just get back to the root of it all?
And go back to Acts. Go back to Acts. In that first church, you talk about a mega church. The Bible says 3,000 souls or 2,000 souls were added that very day. People were coming to know the Lord, and then He was adding to their number week by week. But what were they doing? And it says they were gathering simplicity of heart, you know, sharing with one another, caring for one another. It was authentic community, and that was the first step that we talked about to building a kingdom culture, is having authentic community. They came together in simplicity of heart and did life together. Now, that's a very crucial part of what we need in our culture today, because we're connected more than ever through internet, through phones, through whatever. We're connected more than ever, yet we're more disconnected than ever because we're losing that importance and the understanding the value of being together and having authentic community. And you see that early church, that's something that they had. And that's something that we desire to create in our church. It's not where just people come together and put on a smiley face and dress up and come to church and listen to a encouraging message and leave and go back during the week. No, it's about doing life together. It's about walking with people through some of the hardest times. Life's difficult. We understand that. It's about walking with people through those valleys and linking arms when people are hurting, lifting them up. Life's too difficult to do alone. That's why I've always said life is a team sport. We need one another. And you see that early church in Acts, they understood the importance of authentic community. And that was the first step. This week, hopefully everybody will come. This week we're talking about what it means to be a true friend. And think about your friendships throughout the year. I know God had given you Joshua years ago, and he's helped shape and mold you. He came to your ordination and preached part of your ordination service as we set you apart a few weeks ago. But it's so important in our lives to have those authentic relationships, those friendships that go beneath surface level. And how important has that been in your life? And how important it is to somebody out there today that genuinely doesn't have a close friend. I'm telling you, our church and the people here would love for you to come and develop not perfect people. That's not what we're about. As we talked about, we're a hospital for the hurting. We come together with authentic relationships, authentic friendships to care for one another. If you need a friend, you need to get out of your loneliness, get out of your shell. It's so easy to crawl into the caves of life. Come out and see a group of people that love you. And I know you did a lot for us with reaching out to our people that have visited our church, follow-up ministry. And I know there's a reoccurring theme as people visit our church. And one of the things that they say is our people are so loving and kind and compassionate. Mm-hmm. And I believe that. I think that's what makes the culture that we're creating here, kingdom culture, is authentic community, genuine friendships.
Molly is the heart of the church.
Yeah,
I've always called Miss Molly the heart of the church, in a way. Yeah. So, the heart of the church is Christ, but you know what I'm saying.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, we love you, and we love this community, and I'm talking about on this platform too, not just here at this church, but there is something special happening in Huntsville, and that's the whole point of this show. 2 years ago, April the 10th, in fact, will be our 2-year anniversary. Which is great to think about.
That's wonderful.
First show we ever had, B.J. McMichael was on, and had him and his wife on, and talking about her program, Rise to Read, and I think about these 2 years, and I went back and I was like, man, I was a little bit thinner back just 2 years ago.
Rob, every week we come in here and talk about Rob's weight.
It's a reoccurring thing. I'm going to have a digital meter up here, behind us.
He's lost 6 pounds. That's pretty awesome.
Praise God.
That's pretty awesome.
All it took was staying away from McDonald's for 2 weeks. I mean, that was it, So I caved yesterday, though. I had a burger from another place. Their meat's a little more genuine over there. But no, it's neat. I think about these last 2 years, and that's just a little blip. And you go back and look at the last 20 years of Huntsville. My wife and I have only been here, I guess you could say 4 or 5 years, but there are so many great things that are happening. New chamber president, got to know Jason a little bit. Brandolini at the Sam Houston event, which you were invited to do the prayer. It was a great day.
Yes, it was beautiful weather.
And I think about that, and here's a guy who comes in from New York, and not from New York directly to here. He's been in Tomball. He's done some great work there. The chamber board did a great job, search committee. They found great candidates. Jason became the one, and he's now the president and CEO of the local chamber. And you know what I loved about him? I mean, he just came up and we started talking, and he was one of those guys, kind of like you and many others that you and I both know. Like a Dr. Jones is one of these guys that you just feel like you've known your whole life. That's the culture, I believe, of Huntsville.
I do too, and that's why I love it here. Is because it is that way, and people do care for one another. And like I said, there is that temptation in all of us. I'll be the first to raise my hand. I'm a pastor, but I have difficulty in my life opening up to other people on a deeper level. You have to really trust somebody, especially as a minister, before you start sharing with them your flaws, because what you share with them can really hurt you if they wanted to. You have to really trust somebody. So I understand what it's like for someone out there that maybe it's a little more work for you to be open, and it's a little more work for you to admit that you really need a friend. But I'm telling you, it is so needed, and our community is full of people that want to do that for you, that want to be that person for you. Huntsville is a great place to get plugged in, but it's easy to crawl into a cave too and just stay to yourself. But I'm telling you, God created us for community. He said it's not good for man to be alone.
Used to be really easy to crawl under that old Smither Bridge, but, they've tore it down, so you can't crawl under there and hide anymore.
Have to dig a hole in all that dirt.
Well, hey, we'll take a break. Our good friends from Deep Clean, Texas are on the show with us next. We are giving away some things today. I've got a Cafe Texan gift card. I went through. I had quite a few cards, and this we actually had ran out yesterday, and I found another one. This one, though, it's only $10. Only a $10 card. It's not the $20, $25 variety of cards, but $10 card. We're going to give that away today, and Tiffany's going to hook us up with more later this month. But I do have a $10 Cafe Texan gift card we're giving away today. All you got to do is text in your name on the Zero Degree Creations phone and text line at 936-339-0139. Just go ahead, text in your name. I'm going to throw in an extra gift as well, and it's going to be a surprise. So I promise it's going to be worth more than $10, just that card. But text in this morning for your chance to win. Again, that's on the Zero Degree Creations phone and text line at 936-339-0139. We'll step aside. We'll take a break. We'll be back in a moment as we continue promoting and celebrating the good here in our community. As always, our Thankful Thursdays brought to you by First Baptist Church, a harbor of hope here in Huntsville. More information is online at fbchuntsville.org. We'll take that brief break. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. It's your show. This is Good Morning Huntsville.
Hey friends, Rob Hipp, Media and Community Outreach Minister here at First Baptist Church, Huntsville. Let me ask you, when's the last time you felt real hope? Maybe it's been a while since you've been to church, or maybe you've never felt connected to a church at all. Well, friends, that's okay. Here at First Baptist, we're a harbor of hope, and we welcome everyone just as they are. We have programs throughout the week for all ages to come together, ask questions, grow in faith, and find the hope that only Jesus Christ can bring. Whether you're looking for a fresh start or a community to call home, we'd love for you to join us. Come experience something real. For more information, visit fbchuntsville.org. First Baptist Church, Huntsville, a harbor of hope.
In this harbor of hope, we are safe inside.
Huntsville Executive Office Suites. Elevate your business image with prestigious move-in ready suites ranging from 150 to 3,000 square feet. Enjoy conference and training rooms, furnished and unfurnished options, custom build-outs, phone service, and a welcoming lobby. Coffee bar and dining area included for tenants. Benefit from 24/7 secure access and flexible lease terms. Located on Lake Road. Move-in begins in January. Contact Raven Property Management at 936-225-4378.
Hey, I'm Denise Olivas, Business Account Specialist at Walker County Federal Credit Union. One of the best things I hear from our members is how they love being treated like they're important, like their family. Sure, our members love things like low rates on loans too, but combine that with the friendliest and most helpful service in town, and you've got Walker County Federal, taking care of our members. It's what we do. We are Walker County Federal Credit Union, member NCUA.
Hi, I'm Billy Cawthon, manager of Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. We know times of loss are tough, and you need a place to feel comfortable and cared for. At Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, we pride ourselves on being with you during those really tough days. You can rest assured that we will be on your side and by your side every step of the way. Thank you for your trust. Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, supporting families every day, every step.
The Oak Ridge Disciple House is a faith-based 501c3 nonprofit Christian character building ministry helping men 18 and older who are suffering from drug and alcohol addictions. If you or someone you know needs help, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that light can be found through the Oak Ridge Disciple House. For more information, visit oakridgedisciplehouse.com.
This is Guardian Defense in Huntsville, Texas, a trusted family-owned and operated gun store and range in the heart of East Texas. Guardian Defense is your one-stop destination for Texas LTC, NRA basic pistol and rifle courses, pistol refresher training, as well as a wide selection of quality firearms and ammunition. At Guardian Defense, empowerment is within reach through their Texas DPS-approved license to carry classes. Certified instructors will guide you through every facet of firearm safety, conflict resolution, and the pertinent legal aspects. Book now to become proficient and responsible in handling a firearm with complete confidence. For the eager learners, the fundamentals of pistol and rifle usage await discovery in their comprehensive 8-hour NRA basic courses. You're invited to connect with Guardian Defense on Facebook and Instagram, or give them a call at 936-293-0364. You can also visit them online at guardiandefensellc.com. Guardian Defense, your reliable partner in mastering firearm safety and acquiring quality firearms in the heart of Texas. This is KHSP-LP, Huntsville, Texas, the spirit of Huntsville. Braylon, say, this is Spirit Radio.
This is Spirit Radio.
Spirit of Huntsville, Spirit of Huntsville, Spirit
94.3. Welcome back to Huntsville. Good morning to you as we continue on this journey, writing a new chapter in our wonderful community story today. 52 degrees as you are up and moving. And you know what? It's going to get up to 69 today, sunny. A little bit of clouds coming back in. Tonight, mostly cloudy, 54. How about tomorrow? Decreasing clouds. It's like increasing clouds, then decreasing clouds tomorrow. High of 79. A little bit of rain moving in the forecast tomorrow, or actually for your Saturday, 50% chance and 73. But next week, going to be beautiful. How about Sunday, in fact? Only 60 degrees on Sunday. Monday, 70 and sunny. So we'll just have a little blip, and then, boy, we'll be back up near 80 midweek coming up. So that's your quick weather update. As always, too, our streaming is brought to you by Huntsville Memorial Hospital. More information about the new bond online at yournewhospital.com. Well, it's always a privilege once a month to hang out with my friends, Mr. Brad and Sky Carlton. And I'll never forget, Brad. I forgot your name the first time I met you.
Yeah,
and,
about the first 3 times you met me. Actually.
Yep. And I just
a tough one.
Just started. Brad. It became easy, and Odell, our buddy over there at the Cajun Barber, he said, "You better not." He go, "Right, you better not forget that man's name."
Yeah, you got to do the voice.
Got to do the voice. Yeah. So, but it is Brad and Sky Carlton of Deep Clean, Texas. So good to have you. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you, buddy.
Good morning to you,
Sky.
Here. Yeah, great to see y'all. How have things been? It's been a fun start to the year. A lot going on.
Yeah, feel like we got a tiger by the tail.
Yeah, man, it's something else. We just feel blessed. You know, I'm still recovering from Pastor. He was pretty fired up in that previous segment. It's great to hear him talk about community and getting together. And it is true. I'm diverting a little bit here because what he said is on my mind. You know, in Hebrews it talks about we're not to forsake the gathering of the brethren, especially as we see the day, capital D, the return of the Lord, that day approaching. And so I think it's important in Huntsville. You know, that's where I got my undergraduate degree, was at Sam Houston. And, you know, for 30 years it seems like I've been trying to get back here. And now that we've had an opportunity to do that, it's just a blessing because this is a community unlike most, I'll tell you. It's really tight-knit. There's very little you don't run across very many pretentious people here. Everybody's just genuine.
You hear of
it's a wonderful thing.
Some people call a place a black hole, and that's like it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing if you want to say that about Huntsville here because it draws you in.
It does.
And it doesn't let you out. And that's okay because it drew us in and we didn't want to get out.
No,
so
you don't.
I take a different effect on it. But it is a good place, and there's so many great businesses that are a part of this community. You guys are one of them. And I love y'all's story of just starting and growing. And, Sky, you've been such a great marketing asset to this community, not just for your business, but for our group at WCRC. I've learned a lot just from you about different ways to market. And one thing that you're doing right now that I absolutely love ties into little orange bouncy balls that you see on the college floor. It's March Madness coming up, but it's not March Madness for you guys. It's March Madness. So let us know about the promotion that's going on right now.
Okay, well, Brad, go ahead, Mr. Marketing.
Oh, well, no. I don't know. We're not sure who came up with it, but it's just obviously a play on words.
You.
But it is simply this: you get $100 off your first 3 cleans in total. Okay, so your first clean, your initial clean, is going to be $50 off. Then you schedule your next clean, you get $25 off. The third clean, another $25 off, for a total of $100. The idea is sort of a date before we marry type scenario, right? So the idea, it's shameless marketing. We come in, we strut our stuff, we do our thing, and you see what your house could look like on a regular basis. And then we come and do it again. And then we come and do it again. Yeah, maintenance cleans, maintaining what we've done in the deep clean. And by the time you've had us in your house 3 times, you're probably hooked. So that's the idea behind it as far as the shameless marketing plug is concerned. But in reality, again, it's like everything else in our business model. It's meant to build relationship. That's why I'm sort of fascinated that's what we were talking about, relationship.
Yeah, he teed it up pretty well for us right here.
We appreciate it. We didn't even talk to him about it. He just did it.
I called Sky, this morning and said, "Hey, no, I'm just kidding."
Oh yeah, we got the memos on the shirt.
Yeah,
exactly. Okay.
But it is. We need to put our logo on there. Hello, Huntsville, Deep Clean, Texas.
It is neat though to think about, and we talk so much about community on this show and just people coming together. And for a business to be successful, you've got to come together with the community. You've got to find ways to not only promote your products and services and do a great job, which you guys do, but you got to find a way to get involved in the community, to be involved in different things, to get your name out there. And Sky, y'all have been so instrumental in that. And I go back and say this, just getting involved in a networking organization. Obviously, we do that to help our own businesses, but at the same time, we're giving back and we're educating everyone else. And I love the fact that we get to share in all of our successes. We get to be there, and in a group like ours, and I'm talking about our WCRC group, if somebody's down, we're going to lift each other up. And that's the same in business. If one business is down, we need to lift that business up and help them. You guys have been doing a tremendous job. In fact, a great amount of work coming in that y'all are looking to hire even more people now, I understand.
We are. We've been working on that. That's been our main focus for the last 6 to 8 weeks.
Sure.
Honestly. So, but we're so picky about who we add to the team, our hiring process. Brad, I have to give him credit here again. He is, he's our hiring manager. And so you got to go through him. He's kind of like the gatekeeper, and you got to kind of have to go through him. So we're looking for the cream of the crop when we're hiring for our team, because our team, March Madness, in the sense of what March Madness is for the basketball teams, we're looking for A players. We want A players on our team. That's who we will entrust into our customers' homes. I think our customers over the last 14 years have come to, rely on dependable, trustworthy, just top tier individuals.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I love that, and Brad, if you want to kind of piggyback on this, the ideal candidate employee for you guys, who would that be? Maybe somebody's watching this morning and they're saying, hey, I'm looking for work and I've got a passion to clean and help people. What would that ideal candidate look like for y'all?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, obviously, first and foremost, they need to be trustworthy. They need to be reliable. Because our team is made up of A players. And so if you consider yourself to be an A player, you're trustworthy, you're reliable, you show up to work, you put your signature on everything that you do. I mean, I know this is housekeeping, right? But the principles are the same. And so we put funnels in place. We generally will have people go through the platform of Indeed, where they apply. I ask a litany of questions of those people, again, putting them through the paces and the funnels and the hurdles to try to winnow out those folks and get the ones that are really capable, because they're going into your house. I mean, I know if we're not going to let somebody into your house that we wouldn't let into ours. That's kind of the standard. And so they go through the process. I contact them. And then if they get through me, we put them in for an interview with our operations manager. Her name is Brittany Trahan. If they get through Brittany, then they go into training, and we offer them the job. They accept it. Then they go through training. And then after they get through training, they go through house checks before we let them in on their own. And then we begin to build their schedule as we see that they're trustworthy, reliable. They're going to assimilate into our culture. And so, it may sound silly, but really what we look for, and they are out there, is career cleaners. There's folks who get real gratification from going in and taking a place that may be a mess and turning it into a beautiful home that somebody can come home and just just breathe and enjoy. And they didn't have to do it. See, and that's again the kind of the deal is a luxury once enjoyed, as the saying goes, becomes a necessity. And so we want to become a necessity in your life, and so we look at it that way, beginning at the hiring process.
I remember when I had my IT company, when we would put out, the job description, I did a pre-screening on the job description. Mm-hmm. And these were IT guys, so they better know how to use Word and do stuff, right? I mean, it was simple things. And I would always put on there, make sure that you include ... And it was, make sure you include your resume as a PDF file. Uh-huh. If you're an IT guy, you better know how to do a PDF file. Correct. I'd say it needs to be submitted as a PDF file on 3 separate pages. Page 1, your cover letter. Mm-hmm. Page 2, your resume. And the last page, your references. Split it out. And I did that on purpose, not to be like, hey, I'm trying to throw – but I did it to see if they could follow instructions.
Exactly.
No, that's absolutely true.
Man, you'd be amazed at how many – and we used Indeed too. And I'd get 50 resumes come in, and 49 of them wouldn't follow directions.
Sure.
And then that one guy would be the one, and he ended up being a rock star employee.
That's right.
Because
Brad the same.
You're supposed to be – listen, this is advice, free advice. You're paying what it's worth. But – if you're an employee seeking a job and potential employers got a list of things that they want you to do, that's not haphazard. They're doing that on purpose because you should be putting your best foot forward looking for that position. And if you're not filling out stuff, leaving stuff blank, not following instructions, when you're supposed to be at your best, then what does that say to the employer about after they hire you, if they were to hire you? You're not going to have even opportunity for an interview because, like you say, 49 out of 50, and that almost bears to be true in our industry too. I don't know how many resumes I go through. People just don't answer the questions. They leave stuff blank. They won't follow instruction. And that
Hundreds.
one or two out of 50 or 60 that I go through that does, they're almost always going to get an interview, and it's a pretty good chance they'll get hired.
One of my favorite classes, I go back to high school, is my marketing class. I still talk to my teacher from marketing years ago, Diane Wettig. She made such a profound impact on my life, and it was one of my favorite classes. In fact, I love the class so much, I ended up doing it for 3 years. They had 3 different levels of it, and my senior year, we did like mock interviews, and I'll never forget, I said, Miss Wettig, instead of doing like how to do an interview, can I show one of how not to do an interview? And it was so much fun because I literally, I wore clothes that you would not wear to an interview. Mm-hmm. I had this old shoe with like a big hole where the toe was, and so I walked in. And then whenever we did the interview, I sat on the desk and I put my feet way up there and I was wiggling that toe. I mean, it was but the reality is there's some people that will interview like that.
Show up late.
And this is not how you do an interview. And I love that with you guys, how passionate you are about making sure that you find the right people. It's not to say that, hey, we don't like you because of this. It's saying we need to have the right people because these are people we're putting into someone's home, and I want my mama to be comfortable with this person.
Exactly.
That's absolutely right. That's the standard.
That's right. Well, and we're building a schedule for them on their own. So we don't need to micromanage. Mm-hmm. We want, adults who can manage their own time. They can manage the project that we've been given them and entrusted in them, and so we have to peel back. Brad does a really good job of that to find the cream of the crop.
Here's my $1 million question, because you said earlier, Brad, you got to find people who are passionate that this could be a career for them, right? Mm-hmm. I think of Ruthie over at Walker County Federal Credit Union. She's a career teller. She loves. She's literally like retired 9 times and keeps coming back because she just loves.
She enjoys the
being able to help.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a nice lady, but I think here's the $1 million question. So in an industry such as cleaning, what do you do to break that kind of? And every business has this. I mean, even here on the show, we do this. We do kind of the same thing, but we flare it up every once in a while. So how do you break what could be considered like a mundane cycle of just coming in and cleaning? What do you guys do that maybe says, hey, we're going to make this a little more lively? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it does. That's probably more of a Sky question. But I would say, we try to – I probably shouldn't say this on air. But
wait a minute.
You've heard the saying that the customer's always right.
Yeah.
Okay. They're not.
No,
they're not always.
I
right.
agree with that.
I hate to say that, but you see it in restaurants sometimes, and anybody that's worked in that industry, they're not always right. So what we try to do is we put our emphasis on our employees. Okay,
100%.
We try to treat them like VIPs, and then what we expect is that they'll take that and they'll pay that forward. And so we show them. I don't want to say show them a good time, but we do. We meet regularly. We try to we recognize birthdays. We kind of do things with them. We have our annual Christmas dinner together.
There you go,
we have things throughout the year that we do to try to keep it lively and keep them interested. And let me tell you, it's not like sitting in an office every day. Every day in this job is a different day. You never see, even though you may go to the same house, you never see the same thing twice. And so it's a varied experience. It keeps you physical. It keeps you moving. And so, that's my take on it. You got anything to add to that?
No, that was really good, and I appreciate the answer. We roll out the red carpet for them. We do. We treat them well. We take good care of them. We have contests every quarter and throughout the year, like Brad said, just to make sure that, they understand what our focus is and why we do what we do. And I think that's important. So most of the time they're working by themselves, but we group together so that, they know each other. So when we have to go into a pretty big home, work as a team, they're team oriented, if that makes sense.
And I kind of feel, maybe not to twist your words, but maybe the angle too was the customer doesn't come first.
Yeah, maybe you look at it that, and that is really strange.
Because this
go that way.
When I had my business in the IT world, I would always tell my employee, I said, the customer doesn't come first. Mm-hmm. You come first. Just like you said, if I take care of you and we do what we need to do to take care of our employees, then that customer is always going to come. They're going to feel like they come first.
That's right.
And so that's kind of the point with you guys that I wanted our audience to be clear on is y'all put such a heavy emphasis on making sure that you take care of your employees. And so if there's somebody interested in working and you're the right fit, know that you're going to be taken care of and there's going to be opportunities to grow and do some great things with y'all's business.
Right, exactly.
So, in fact, I think I'm going to end this show and I'm going to put in my application. So we'll see
you later,
man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jason and I both, we're signing up. So. Well, again, March Madness continuing on through this entire month, correct? Can you give us some details again about the event? Or the promotion.
Yeah. So if you are looking for, if you're looking for a cleaning company to come in, we'll do an initial clean. An initial basic clean plus is what we call that. So we come prepared to do windows, oven, refrigerator, scrubbing baseboards. We'll come prepared to do that. We'll do an in-person assessment, and then you sign up for recurring cleans. It could be bi-weekly or weekly to get the next $25 off your second clean, $25 off your third, but you get $50 off your first clean because the first one is a little it's a little more involved, and we bring out ladders and step ladders and oven cleaner if we need it. We have extra equipment, and that initial assessment will tell us all that we need to bring, and it'll map out a scope of work that our team will come in and execute in a timely fashion. And so it can be pretty costly that first time around, depending on what we call the dirt code. And then after that, like Brad said, we'll just maintain that level of excellence. We don't bring our ladders and step ladders in again unless we need to do another deep clean, which most customers they do that about annual or every 6 months.
You ever have to bring a blowtorch, someone like, man, we're just going to have to burn this out of here.
No, but I've had to bring
Don't get
chisels.
her started on the story.
Chisels?
Yes.
Oh, no,
yes.
okay.
Yes.
So if you think your house is too dirty for us, it's not.
It's not.
We've seen it all, I promise.
It's being renamed to Chisel Clean Texas coming up
right,
pretty
exactly.
soon. Well, again, it's Brad and Sky Carlton, Deep Clean Texas. We appreciate them and what they're doing here in our community. Take advantage of this March Madness promotion. You can get more information online at their website. It's deepcleantexas.com. Brad, Sky, always a privilege to have you on. Did we touch base, I think, on everything we wanted to today?
Absolutely. I think so. I appreciate you having us on.
You bet.
Always a pleasure.
Who are you rooting for in March Madness? You got any college teams you're behind?
Man, I have to confess, I'm not a college basketball fan.
Okay.
That's all right. The last game I went and saw, it wasn't basketball, it was baseball, and it was Sam Houston here just a few weeks ago.
It was Valentine's Day. It was so cold and rainy.
It was something.
It was my idea for a Valentine's date night.
Great date night. I'm glad she suggested it instead of me.
It was freezing and it was rainy, and I don't think they won.
It was beautiful weather.
It was really.
If you're a
we're
duck.
going to go back. We're going to have a good time. That's one of the things that we're going to enjoy about this is supporting the college athletes. Yeah.
Yeah, love that. So here's a little bit of relationship advice along with the cleaning advice. Go out when it's raining in baseball and enjoy each other's company.
Get extra points.
Get extra. Yeah, exactly.
Well, great. Well, again, go to their website. Let's support local businesses. They are part of our Hello Huntsville Ethical Business Directory as well. These are businesses that uphold a high standard for making sure that they do what's right and they listen to their customers. It's our Ethical Business Directory. You can find it at HelloHuntsvilleTX.com. We'll take a brief break. We are giving away that Cafe Texan gift card and a surprise something. It's going to be great, whatever it is, I promise. And all you got to do is text in your name on the Zero Degree Creations phone and text line at 936-339-0139. Jason Bay rejoins us. We continue on. This show is always brought to you by First Baptist here on a very, very thankful Thursday. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us, friends.
Media and Community Outreach Minister here at First Baptist Church, Huntsville. Let me ask you, when's the last time you felt real hope? Maybe it's been a while since you've been to church, or maybe you've never felt connected to a church at all. Well, friends, that's okay. Here at First Baptist, we're a harbor of hope, and we welcome everyone just as they are. We have programs throughout the week for all ages to come together, ask questions, grow in faith, and find the hope that only Jesus Christ can bring. Whether you're looking for a fresh start or a community to call home, we'd love for you to join us. Come experience something real. For more information, visit fbchuntsville.org. First Baptist Church, Huntsville, a harbor of hope.
In this harbor of hope, we are safe inside.
Imagine a professional office space that elevates your business image without the corporate price tag. Huntsville Executive Office Suites are coming soon to Lake Road. Enjoy high-speed internet, a fully equipped kitchen, and 24/7 secure access. Take advantage of our live answering service, advertising on our outdoor video sign, and a convenient location just a quarter mile from SHSU. Lease terms start at 6 months. Call Raven Property Management at 936-225-4378. Huntsville Executive Office Suites. Grow your business without outgrowing your budget.
Hi, I'm Billy Cawthon, manager of Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. We know times of loss are tough, and you need a place to feel comfortable and cared for. At Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, we pride ourselves on being with you during those really tough days. You can rest assured that we will be on your side and by your side every step of the way. Thank you for your trust. Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, supporting families every day, every step.
Hey, I'm Denise Olivas, Business Account Specialist at Walker County Federal Credit Union. One of the best things I hear from our members is how they love being treated like they're important, like their family. Sure, our members love things like low rates on loans too, but combine that with the friendliest and most helpful service in town, and you've got Walker County Federal, taking care of our members. It's what we do. We are Walker County Federal Credit Union, member NCUA.
Support for SpiritRadio.fm comes from loyal listeners just like you. Want to help spread the good news across Huntsville and beyond? Underwriting opportunities are available for loyal listeners, businesses, and nonprofits. Visit SpiritRadio.fm and tap Donate today.
This is Kay Boning with Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools, and you're listening to Spirit Radio.
Spirit of Huntsville, Spirit 94.3.
One day, 94.3.
Yes.
One day.
Soon.
Oh, what a day. There's an old hymn, isn't it? Oh, what a day that will be.
Yeah, that is.
Oh, what a day that will be. Here we go, nostalgia. You know what's taking me back? It's reminding me of going to church with my aunt and uncle in San Antonio. And they were part of a congregation. They always sang a cappella. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget. And there would be the guy that would get up. You know, they had the music director. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was choir director, but it was the music because he didn't have a choir. Mm-hmm. And he would go like this. Mm-hmm. And then, oh, what a beautiful day that will be. And he would point over to these men and these be. Those were
That's where you get your voice from.
He takes it back, man.
Way to go, man.
Well, hey, it is that time for, let's get the official.
There we go.
The Jason Bay. That section, news you can use.
All right. Well, there's lots of news out there that we want to share, and this is news you can use. So hopefully that's news that you can use to share with other people, to generate discussion, because this program's not necessarily about informing you of all the latest things. It's giving you topics to discuss with people around the dinner table and to enjoy conversation with.
And build community.
I mean, you can get your political news elsewhere, but here we're just going to focus on things we want to talk about, right?
Yeah, amen.
All right. Did you have a chance last week to watch the Academy Awards?
Absolutely not. I missed it. Man, shucks.
All right. Well, then you came to the right place. I watched it so you didn't have to.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate. You did? You watched it?
No, I watched some of it.
Okay, all right.
But it gives you it gives you a cultural it gives you an idea where the culture is when you look at modern day movies, modern day media, things like that. And I think I haven't watched hardly any of the movies that were up for awards, but I have watched a couple of them, and I've read things about just about all of them. I think this year's movie selection for Best Picture were the worst movies that have possibly been out ever, as far as like a group that has up for Academy Award. The one that won it all, Anora, I haven't seen, but I have read that it is probably the most closest to pornography as you can get. The director of the movie, Anora, Sean Baker, he had an interesting speech at the Academy Awards. They won just about every award that moved for the movie Anora, and it's about a sex worker that falls in love with a Russian oligarch, and they have a relationship and all this. But in his acceptance speech for the Best Director, this is what he said. He said, "Filmmakers keep making films for the big screen. I know I will. Distributors, please focus first and foremost on the theatrical releases of your films. Parents, introduce your children to feature films in movie theaters, and you will be molding the next generation of movie lovers and filmmakers. And for all of us, when we can, please watch movies in a theater, and let's keep the great tradition of the movie-going experience alive and well." So he took his time in the acceptance speech to really address the trend that is occurring in our culture today, where after COVID, fewer and fewer people are actually going to the movie theaters. And he goes on in the speech, is not just that section. It's a lot more. He talks about how whenever he grew up, his mother took him to the movie theater, and that made a great impact on him. We talked about making movies last night in our discussion about the importance of storytelling and stuff like that. And there is a modern day trend of we watch things that we watch typically at home through streaming. That happened after COVID. A lot of people started watching more and more things online, on streaming them on their TVs at home. And then that really carried over, because now most of the movies that are released on at the movies, but not shortly after they're released through Apple TV, through where you can purchase it, Amazon Prime, you can purchase it there, or a lot of them are being released on Netflix, and Netflix is a major movie producer now. But I thought about what he said, and I remember back in the day the fun of going to a movie with my family, and us all going to see the movie together. And I mean, I still enjoy, storytelling, and the art of storytelling is so important in our culture. And it would be nice, let me just say it this way, it would be nice to go to a movie, right? I have some advice for Mr. Baker, and I would like to say to him, if you want the culture to return to the movie theater, make movies that are worth people going to the movie.
Families going to.
If you want children to go back to the movie theater and families to go, make movies that people can take their families to. I think it's pretty arrogant for him to stand up there and say, hey, take your, introduce your children to feature films and movie theaters, and you'll be molding the next generation of movie lovers and filmmakers. Quote, that's what he said. When he's just produced a movie.
This filth.
That from what I've read about, wouldn't recommend any child watch for sure, any teenager watch, much less any adult watch, because of the graphic nature of the movie. How arrogant for him to say, take your children to the movies. Let's make movie-going experiences something that you can do again with your family whenever they don't make movies that you can take families to anymore. I mean, when's the last time you took your family to a movie to see a family movie that wasn't some animated movie?
I was about to say we did, but it was an animated. It's Moana 2. There's a movement that's starting right here this morning. Mark your calendars, 8:33 a.m. Central Time, March the 6th, 2025. Make movies great again.
Yes. I'm telling you, if they want to revive the movie-going experience, make movies you can take your family to.
It's mga instead of maggots. Mga.
Yeah, I agree. But I think it's sad to the movies that have been released today. Now, I want to tell you one of the movies that I watched, and I didn't see most of them, but and it's my fault because I didn't do a lot of background on the movie. I was sick at the house with COVID a few weeks ago, and I was flipping through trying to find something to watch. There's nothing on TV, so there was a movie on, that I purchased. It was on Apple, new release movie, and if I had read anything in the Christian literature, it would have told me not to watch this movie, but it was called Conclave. Have you heard about this?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so this is a movie about, and the premise sounded interesting, that the conclave is a group of bishops that get together in Rome whenever they are attempting to find a new pope. Mm-hmm. And they get together and they elect through a process of finding a new pope. Well, I thought, it would be neat for me, the way that they portrayed it is that it would be neat for me to understand how that process works. In the history, because this has gone back a long, long time in history, they've done it this way. And whenever the Pope passes away and it's time to elect a new Pope, they go through this every year. So I wanted to learn about this, and so I watched the movie. And let me just tell you, this movie was the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm not making any stretch of the imagination. It was a total insult to the Catholic Church and to faith in general. And I wouldn't recommend anybody watching that movie. And it was also up for Best Picture. And there was a political agenda from the start of this movie to the end of this movie. I'm not going to go into the details of the movie. I'm just going to say that by the end of the movie, I was like watching the movie and I was like, okay, where's this going? Where's this going? They don't reveal their whole agenda to the very end. Mm. And, I mean, the movie is clean. There's no curse words, but the agenda of the movie is evident, and it is a slap in the face to anybody that is that's a Catholic. And, we have, both of you and I have both Catholic friends and family members, and it's just a total insult to them, and I think it's, as I said, one of the worst movies that you could possibly ever see. But we can talk about it off air if you want any more information about it. But most of the movies that were up for Best Picture, I think, and talking to other people, is the worst selection of movies this year than it's been in every year. And this director is asking people to go back to the movies.
Wow.
And it's pretty hard to go back to the movies when there's nothing worth watching.
Well, we're talking about movies. There was something that Bridget and I we chuckled about last night. So, and I think it was your daughter, maybe.
Maybe.
So you were asking, that we have these 3 rotations. Was it kindergarten, first and second, third and fourth?
Yep.
So the rotation of kids, just to give you a setup, they come through for 20 minutes. There's a message for the kids, and then they go on and they do crafts and other things. But one of those is the teaching component, where Jason will give them a little sermon or a lecture. Last night was on parables, but it was tied into the theme of movies. Jesus is the director telling a story and through movies.
Right.
And it was really neat because you interact with the children so well, and you're a father of children, so you're very good at that. I was watching, I was like, man, this is cool. I want to be able to do this with my children, But it was neat seeing that. And one of the funniest things, Bridget and I both looked at each other and laughed, because you're asking, what's your favorite movie? And all these little kids were saying, Moana or the dinosaur or Toy Story. And then all of a sudden, I think it was your daughter. She goes, Twister.
Yeah, Twister.
And I was like, yes.
Twister. That was the last movie that we went to see as a family. But the original Twister was so good. And we still watch that a lot at the house, but we did take him to that one, and he remembers that because for both of them, both of them said the same thing. But they thought they were so cool because it was a tough movie, scary movie, Twister.
The last movie that I saw, I was flipping through, and it was on Amazon. It was Robin Williams, and it's the one where he accidentally becomes president.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, hey, this is all right.
I haven't seen that one. I will have to check it out. But I mean, if you're going to see a movie, you pretty much have to watch an old movie nowadays.
I did want to say one other thing. If you're looking for just good, wholesome content. And this isn't anything political. I know people hear Fox News and they think, oh, man, well, that's, it's going to be conservative. And it doesn't matter what side you're on. If you're a believer and you want really good, wholesome content, that Fox Nation app, I was telling you about this. Phyllis told me about it. I ended up buying it. It was like $49 a year. But that Fox Nation app, there is a lot of really good Christian and inspirational programming, and one series that I'm really enjoying right now is simply called The Bible, and it is a very good series. Now I've realized it's definitely nothing that I want my children to watch with me at the age they are now, because the story of David and Goliath. We know what happens. Well, they depict that in that show. Because they wanted to do a very good job of illustrating the Bible the way it was written. Obviously, it's not the Bible, but for a visual reference, I'm really enjoying that series.
I'm telling you, there is a movement like we talked about earlier, and I think we're going. If people like me and like you in the large portion of America, the flyover states, which they refer to us as, there's a great amount of people that are really tired of the political agenda and all of these force feeding it down our throats, that there's something wrong with being people of faith and having a moral character that is held to a higher standard. But yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, you have to look for it, but you can find it. And I think there's a beauty. The idea of saying, oh well, we're not going to watch any movies. No, the idea of storytelling goes way back for centuries. I mean, that's what we were talking about last night. What made Jesus' message so memorable to the people is because he was an excellent storyteller. And at the end of the stories, he always had a very important biblical truth that he's trying to bring out. And the people remembered it because he told such good stories. There's nothing wrong with telling stories and to be able to make good movies and stuff. We need that in our culture. We need people that will rise up and help make movies that are worth watching. You invest 2 hours of your time, and that's the way I look at it a lot of times, is investment of time. Let's make movies. Let's hold these movie makers to a higher standard than what we're seeing today.
I know you have more news you can use, but I just wanted to throw this in there because it's on my mind and I'll forget it. A lot of people say, "Well, I don't go there because there's a bunch of hypocrites there." I just want it. My last name is Hip, so come on,
Yes. All right. On Monday in Houston, a flight from Houston to Phoenix had to return back to the gate. This is a Southwest airline. Had to fly back to the gate at 3:20 p.m. because there was a woman on the plane that took her clothes off and was going up and down the aisles for 25 minutes.
Goodness.
And they had to take her away. The Houston Police Department arrested her and said they would evaluate her. But the reason why I brought this up is because I don't know if you've noticed, but in the news lately, there's been more and more incidences like this, similar to this, of people on airlines that are acting out or are just being disruptive. Have you noticed these stories trending? More and more people. And when I read this story, what it brought up into my mind, and what we talked about before as a church staff, but as just as evaluators of our culture, is what I notice is more and more people dealing with mental health issues than ever before. Mm-hmm. We've talked about this as a church. We're seeing this more and more and more and more and more. Why do you think that is?
I think it's just an inundation of everything that people are exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've always believed that we're a product of our environment. We really are.
Mm-hmm.
If you grew up in one certain faith or belief, it's probably because that's what you were taught, right?
Right.
And I think a lot of what we're seeing is their chemical imbalance. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But and I'm not a scientist or a doctor, and you know, I don't speak on things that I don't know. But just my opinion is the things that we're exposed to can warp our minds.
Mm-hmm. It's spiritual warfare.
100%.
Yeah, and I think what we're seeing today is a result also of the culture as we become more and more disconnected, like we talked about earlier, the lack of interaction with others. And because if you are going through something and you have that support network, you can rely on your brothers and sisters in Christ or wherever community you're a part of to help you through that. I think isolation tends to enhance the mental issues that we see in our culture. And there's not, and it is sad. I know police officers deal with this on a daily basis now. My wife's nephew is a police officer up in the Dallas area, and this is something that they're dealing with on a regular basis now, just mental health issues that are going across our world. And I think there's obviously it's spiritual warfare. It's also, you know, when you're dealing with mental health and chemical imbalances, you know, people need to go to doctors for sure, and there needs to be medication. But a lot of times the doctors that prescribe this medication are prescribing it to people that aren't necessarily going to take that medication according to the way that they're supposed to. And so then the chemical imbalances get worse because they're abusing the medication or they're not taking it like they're supposed to. So it just adds fuel to the fire, so to speak. But we definitely are in our culture seeing more and more mental health issues, and this is just another example. When you get on an airplane nowadays, you never know what to expect.
We hear, you know, especially for those that are involved in going to church, and you've all probably heard sermons about the idle mind, and you know, I've heard the phrase the idle mind is the devil's playground. And I go back to Philippians 4:8, and it's what are you meditating on? What are you thinking on? And you're exactly right. When you're lonely and when you're by yourself, what are you doing? What are you meditating on?
Exactly.
Philippians 4:8 says, finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, pure, lovely, good report, if there's any virtue and if there's anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. And so that's my challenge to me and to anyone else is what are you meditating on?
That's right.
During those times of quietness.
Yep. And I think that the mental health issues that we see in our culture there's a lot going on there. There's not an easy answer, obviously, but I do think we really need to understand the issues of spiritual warfare that are going on in our culture. Like you said, the culture as a whole pouring into the mindset. What are you thinking on? And then that lack of community. If you don't have that community, it's a lot harder because we all go through times of mental stress. Mm-hmm. We need those other people in our lives to help build us up. Time Magazine has an article out, a brand new invention that has occurred in Dallas. Scientists have bred woolly mice. Did you hear about this?
No.
There it is right there.
Well, yeah. I peeked over and saw this, so we're looking it up.
This is on their journey to bring back the woolly mammoth. So this is straight out of Jurassic Park. They're trying to bring back the woolly mammoth, but it's a little bit different. I'll explain to you why it's a little bit different. But what they have been able to do is this is a scientific breakthrough because what they have been able to do is manipulate the genetic code of these mice to make the woolly aspect of their DNA to come out. The quote is, the colossal woolly, that's what they're calling the mouse, marks a watershed moment in our de-extinction mission, said company CEO Ben Lamb in a statement. By engineering multiple cold-tolerant traits from mammoth evolutionary pathways into a living model species, we've proven our ability to recreate complex genetic combinations that took nature millions of years to create. So, Rob, do you have a picture there that you can put up there of what this mouse looks like?
Yeah, I just showed like a legitimate one. It looks like, when you give your dogs a bath, that's what their fur looks like.
Yeah.
But someone else had a better idea here.
There
and
it is.
This is really what it should really, Look
I love that. I love that.
This guy says, look how much cooler woolly mice would look with tusks. Get on. He said, get on with it, scientists.
Yeah, right. So they've been working on this since 2021. This is a company, like I said, out of Dallas that have been working on this. And they believe that by 2028, they're going to be able to recreate the woolly mammoth. And now they're not doing it from like in the Jurassic movie, they had like ancient DNA that they recreated. That's how the Jurassic Park. But what they noticed is that there's the Asian elephant is a close evolutionary relationship to the elephant stem cells that produce the traits of the woolly mammoth. And they believe by taking the DNA from the Asian elephant that they're going to be able to manipulate the DNA code to actually recreate something very, very similar to the woolly mammoth. But the only problem is that the Asian elephant's already an endangered species, so that's why there'll be a little bit of they're going to have a delay in this process. But
kind of bummed out that you said they're not doing it like the Jurassic Park, because I'm waiting.
No kidding.
I was hoping in my lifetime we'd be able to go into a big doors that open, and then you hear a voice saying, "Welcome to Jurassic Park." That's all I've been waiting for.
Me too. I want to see the T-Rex.
Not up and close.
So it's pretty interesting, but it just goes to show you that what's next. Are they going to? I don't think the idea of manipulating humans' DNA is far behind. That's a pretty scary thought when you think about it. Like if you had a lot of girls and you wanted to really have a boy, that they could go in there and manipulate the DNA.
Yeah, and what's tough, the technology's already there to do that. If they, there's the ethical and the moral and the religious standpoints of it.
Exactly.
Which I kind of like. There's some things, I don't know, I haven't really sat there and studied that too much, to be honest.
Me either, and that's I'm just reporting the news, Rob.
yeah. That'll be the behind the scenes for $100 a month. We'll have you extended discussion.
Yeah, let's get deep into the woolly mammoth discussion. But the mouse looks pretty cool. But they spent a lot of money to do that, and it is a scientific breakthrough.
My question is Elon going to shut them down, though?
Yeah.
They may get hit by Doge.
Oh, by the way, did you hear about this? And speaking of Elon, I found a story. Let's see if I can recall it here. It was funny, and came out of San Antonio. Yeah, here it is right here. It's one of the blimps that SpaceX uses to evaluate weather conditions and other things, and also kind of but it's stationed. It's like imagine a small version of the Goodyear blimp, a small, much smaller version, almost like a big weather balloon that you can control. Anyway, out of the San Antonio Express, remember when we had the big winds? Mm-hmm. So this thing was tethered down in San Antonio, where they use it to film or record different weather things, but also film up above. And anyway, the thing, because of the damaging winds we had the other day, it snapped its tether cable, and the thing ended up floating away in the air, and now they can't find it. So they're asking people to be on the lookout for a white blimp.
That thing was huge. I just showed a picture before it told me I had to pay to read more about it. But man, that thing is huge.
Witnesses said it was headed toward the Gulf of Mexico, and the Air and Marine Operations Division of CBP searched for the craft there with help from the Coast Guard and the Public Department of Safety. They were unable to find, they call it a spy balloon, the agency said, asked witnesses to help to report any sightings, but they think it's somewhere over the Gulf of Mexico. It weighs as much as 2,400 pounds and carried specialized radars and cameras that sent real-time data to the operators. It's nearly 200 foot long and 63 foot wide. Craft can float as high as 15,000 feet. So,
but how would they lose? I mean, with the technology out there, they can find stuff easily. So what's going on?
You think they'd have a GPS tracker on the thing?
No joke. I think this sounds like an American spy balloon.
Yeah, they said that this thing had filmed all of the SpaceX Starship launches, and that was one of its main things.
Wow.
So, anyway, if anybody sees it floating out on the Gulf of Mexico, if you're taking a cruise this weekend out of Galveston, be on the lookout for the big blimp.
Yeah, and if you find that, bring it to us, please. I'd like to store that over here at the church.
Yeah, for sure. There's major changes coming to your local drive-through. I ran into this the other day firsthand. But Wendy's is one of the people doing it. Also, Taco Bell is doing it. Is they're going to all AI on the drive-through window. Oh. So the other day I was down in the Woodlands and I drove through a Taco Bell and came up to the window, and noticed there was a kind of a backup where you talk to the speaker. And when I got up there, I figured out why. Because you're talking to a AI voice, and they're trying to interpret what you're saying. And, people have loud vehicles, and there's other things going on, and so you have to repeat yourself numerous times to the robot on the other end. But this is just another cost-saving measure. But Wendy's is expecting to roll it out in the next month to make changes to many of the drive-thrus, not all of them, so maybe our Wendy's will keep the person that you actually talk to. But don't you think that people are getting sick and tired of talking to robots, much less at a drive-through?
Yeah, and it's when you first pull up, I've experienced this now, even locally at some places. It's like a greeting, like, "Hey, will you be using?" And then it's like a totally different voice. "Oh, hey, welcome," or they'll cut it out in the middle of it talking.
What you want?
Yeah. What you want?
Welcome to. Would you be using your mobile app today?
What you want?
No, what you want?
There's one drive-through that they need to change their greeting. Now, here's two things real quick, Jason. One, Chick-fil-A, you better say "my pleasure." That's I get angry when they don't say jokingly I get angry when they don't say "my pleasure." The other thing is when you go to that, what is it, Cane's, they say something like, hey, you want some chicken today? Of course I want chicken. Why did I come here? That's the only thing y'all have.
Yeah.
So they need to change that greeting.
Yeah. I agree. There was over the past weekend, I got some alerts on my phone about this because my wife and her family, we used to live up in Fort Worth, and her family all lives up in the Dallas area. But I don't know if you heard about this. There was a mass shooter scare at the Kay Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center that led to thousands of people rushing from the National Cheerleaders Association All-Star National Championship in Dallas Saturday afternoon to escape what they thought was gunfire. So they showed pictures on the TV or on the phone where I would get my news. All these people leaving, and there was reports going out about all these people rushing from this Kay Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center in Dallas because of what they thought was a mass shooting incident. Turns out that two parents got into a fight over their kids competing in the cheerleading competition, mind you. They got into a fight, and in the process of getting into the fight, they knocked down a large group of poles that knocked down that made a loud noise. And when everybody noticed people fighting and that loud noise, they assumed that there was shooting. And so multiple people were injured in the stampede that took place, people trying to get out of there. It says many people sustained non-life-threatening injuries during the chaos, and a family reunification center was set up nearby for families that were separated. We can confirm that there was no active shooter at the Kay Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center, the Dallas Police Department said. But, I mean, my gosh, what are we coming to when you go to a cheerleading competition and parents are getting into fights? I mean, it's just our culture. I mean, it's what we're talking about. It's a terrible to think about that. But from being involved in sporting events and competition events, how angry people can get.
Polarized.
I'm telling you, in Michigan, I think it was Michigan, they had a basketball game, and the people got so mad at the referees, they started throwing things at the referees. They had to stop the game. One of the referees got hit in the head. They had to stop the game. Police had to come in and stop people from throwing things at the referee. They had to escort the referees out of the facility, and now they're going back and looking at video footage of trying to press charges on these people that have thrown things at the referees. But I mean, it's so difficult now, and even child sports, the parents get so angry at one another and at the referees. I mean, we've seen that happen over the years here, even at Upwards, where people lose their mind over a sporting activity. Last year, we had to reevaluate everything that we do and reinvent the whole thing of Upwards to really emphasize to the parents especially that this is for the children, and we do it because we love the kids, and we don't make any money from it. And we're not going to tolerate people hollering at the referees, hollering at the kids, and having a bad attitude when they come to sporting events.
Yeah, especially with the little ones.
Yeah,
you know?
But I mean, tell you, this is cheerleading. This is what happened in Dallas. I mean, people fighting in the alleyways. I mean, come on.
My friend's wife was at that event. Her daughter was in it.
Oh, really?
And she posted. She said, "Please pray. There's an active shooter here." And then she commented later that it was not an active shooter. It was what you just said. You know, I think about I think about a lot of different things. And Kyle even said this. Our friend Kyle Kreiner. He said, "Man, we can't even throw our hands up anymore." As I think what he meant. He said, "We can't even throw our hands anymore without people fearing a shootout." And that's right. You know, it's just the society and the culture that we live in. I think when I go back and I think about sporting events and that kind of stuff, it was 2004, the Malice at the Palace was the one. And I was watching that Indiana Pacers game live when that broke out. They ended up, Larry Brown was on there and he's like, "Stop doing this," the coach. And that the game ended. It was Indiana and Detroit. They ended the game with like 54 seconds to go.
I'll tell you one thing that we really try to emphasize to our players that come through Upwards, because I think it's so important that we teach this to the next generation, because obviously we've missed it along the way, is what is good sportsmanship. Learning how to lose is just as important as learning how to win. Being respectful to your competition is just as important as being able to play the game well. And when I coach my team, I'm trying to teach them to work as hard as they possibly can, to give it their all. But if the other team makes a good shot and they make a good play, congratulate them on it. It's hey, good shot, man. You don't have to take everything so personal.
And heckle them.
Yeah.
What kind of shot was that?
Yeah,
you're so good. Kyle said this too. He said what you're saying. He said, preach it to the baseball moms and softball dads in the back.
I understand completely. No, I mean we've in the years that we've done Upwards basketball here, we've never had a problem with the kids. It's the parents. I mean, come on, teach your kids. This is one of my speeches that I give every year. We're here to teach the kids good virtue and good sportsmanship. The best way to teach them that is to model it for them.
Yeah.
We can't sit here and say, we need better sportsmanship. Without doing it ourselves.
Exactly.
Teach it to them by how you model it. Last thing, Reader's Digest.
Yes.
You love Reader's Digest.
I get excited when you say that.
All right, here's the title of the article. They always give news you can use in the Reader's Digest. Here's why you always feel a burst of cold air when you walk into a grocery store. You walk into a grocery store, and then all this wind blows right in your face. First of all, it's important that they keep in the course of this article, it's important, obviously, that they keep the temperature in the store at a standard temperature for the preservation of the food. So it can't vary. And with the doors opening up and closing all the time, the purpose of this air that blows into your face whenever you walk into the air condition, walk into the store, is a bit of engineering that prevents a cold air wall when it comes down. It literally is like an airlock almost. That air that comes down prevents the air from inside the building going out and the air that's outside the building going in. So it's almost like a wall, like an air wall. There's a purpose in behind that, and that purpose is to keep the cold air in and the warm air out. And with that little burst of air helps to prevent an air wall there. So when you're going in, so
I thought it was for the bugs, to keep the bugs out.
And it probably has the same effect with the bugs as well. But because it literally becomes a wall there of air that keeps the temperature from varying inside the building. So
it's funny as you're saying this. I'm sitting here in my brain hearing the and I can feel it.
Yeah. It says that cold gust that hits you is an air curtain, also known as an air wall or an air door. An air wall is essentially a blast of air that acts through pressure to create a temperature buffer. So now you know.
Very important as you walk into your local HEB
so
this morning.
Since you have listened to News You Can Use, just think, next time you go in, your wife is walking with you or your husband, and the air hits you in the face to kind of wake you up. You can say, hey, you know why they do that? Here's why. I heard this on News You Can Use.
That's right. Yeah. And then think, we need to support that show.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll have a link up later.
There is Hello Huntsville, making the world better one element at a time.
I like it. We'll AI a logo a little bit later. So, along with what was it? The guy, make movies great again.
Yeah,
so
we definitely need that.
Those are the takeaways from today. Well, hey, let's briefly head over to our 0 Degree Creations phone and text line. We have a winner today. Due to time constraints, we're only going to call one person, so hopefully they'll answer.
Yes.
Sounds like we're part of a network due to time constraints.
Sorry, missed your call. Leave me a name and number. Thanks.
Man.
Sorry you missed the call, too.
That's okay. We can go to, was it Cafe Texan? Is that what you're going to go
we'll go today. Well, we'll give it away tomorrow. We got to get rolling, so I can't stay on the phone today. We did have a get. Sorry you didn't win. You got 2 seconds to call us back.
Yeah, call back.
But Jason, hey, wanted to invite folks, come out on Sunday. We'd love to have you as we have Bible studies at 9:30. Great worship service always at 10:45. And you know one thing that I love about our church is that we still have that one service. There's no need to have two.
Yeah.
And the sanctuary is packed almost every Sunday, but there's still enough room. You don't feel like you're cramped up. Mm-hmm. But I love that it's one service, one community, and I think that's really healthy for a church like ours. Big time.
I do too. I think, and it's beautiful. It's like I said, our church. I think I'll put our church, as far as like the diversity of our church, up against any church in Huntsville. I think we're a very diverse congregation. And there's something for everybody. And I invite you to come out. I know this week is coming up on spring break, so I want to remind all the kids and parents, have a safe trip. We won't have our Wednesday night activities next week because of spring break. And don't forget, this Sunday is daylight savings time.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I know it. And you know what I was going to say? I was enjoying my drive in this morning because it's early. I'm not an early riser, but I was driving in today, and it was light out. Every other week that we come in, and it's been dark when we come in, but it was light this morning. But just think, after next week, it's going to be dark again.
Jason may not be on for a while. So I may not be on for a while, to be honest. We'll see. I dread this time of the year. I really do. Not being negative, but I just so dread this time change because it is so – I wouldn't care if it was just me. But it is so difficult for my little children to get readjusted.
Yeah, that hour makes a big difference.
And the hour behind is fine. Mm-hmm. It's the hour ahead. Mm-hmm. And so we're already in preparation mode of getting them ready for that. Yeah. So let's get rid of that time change, President Trump. We please. That's why I voted for certain changes is to get rid of that time change. And we need to see that happen.
I agree.
So all right. Well, friends, that'll wrap it up here on another great day. We appreciate you so much. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Billy Cawthon, Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home will help us close out the week. And we do appreciate, again, Jason Bay for all that he does. It's always a long day. Wednesday, we're up here late. Jason drives back home and then back up here early. We're here because we want to be here. We want to uplift this community, and we're so thankful to all of you. We'll be back at it tomorrow, 7:30. Big thank you to Joshua Mashi behind the scenes helping us with some production this morning. And as I end every show, reminding you that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. So please provide a word of encouragement, lend a hand of support. Somebody out there needs you. Big thank you to Sky and Brad Carlton from Deep Clean, Texas. And also one final announcement, Jason. We have secured a tentative day. Secured tentative, can you say that? The first Thursday in June will be our third annual Rays of Hope. So big thank you to HEB. We'll have more details on that in the coming week or so. Hey, that'll do it. We'll see you back again 7:30 tomorrow morning. Until then, good morning, Huntsville, and God bless. Have a great day. We'll see you, Jason.
All right.